let's talk about tombstones. These are just some plywood, scraps, leftovers. I wanted to give you an idea what you can do with these. They don't have to be, you can make them funny, you can make them, you know, different sayings. I have different sayings on all of them and that kind of stuff. You can make them serious, you can make them traditional, you can make them whatever you'd like. This doesn't look like much sitting here, but I've got lights in the eyes and in the skull itself. It plugs in, and this webbing glows under black light. I probably got too much web on this guy, but I'll have to monkey with that when I get it out there in the dark. But you know, I may choose to put that off, you know, in the distance somewhere, or I might want to put it close in a corner somewhere that drags your attention. I just took a piece of plywood, carved in it what I wanted, put some paint on it, and sometimes you can get these things from the dollar store, these skulls or these little rats, or you can, you know, find them wherever. Little rubber toys, right? Snakes and whatnot. I thought, what can I do with those? You know, we had some of those around. That little hand, I thought, I don't know, maybe I could heat that up with a heat gun and make it look like it's grabbing around there. And so I did that. And then this little shelf, I have some lights that go down in here that light this up, right? I'll sit down on that. All right. So then I thought, well, let's make some candles. I have white candles, I have PVC candles, I have this pool noodle candles that I put on there, and I put tea lights in there. I'm going to LED type lighting because I'm sick of going around and changing batteries. This is another tombstone thing I had, and again, this is oriented strand board. Don't recommend using it for long term because it will separate on you over time in the wet. I'd rather use drops of actual plywood, but as you can see, some of this stuff was pretty bad off. I just cut what was good out of it and made my tombstones. Took a spider and stuck it on there, you know, just something that you can go any direction with this that you want. I have a bazillion of them. Drawback, they're heavy because I try to make them at least, you know, 1/2 inch, 5/8 thick or something. You know, I don't use that thin 1/4 inch stuff because I want to put screws in it to put stakes. That's just a wooden stake on that one. I think all of these here have the wooden stake. I just put some orange tape around this to help because of where it was sitting in the water, so it didn't just rot and snap off there. But like this big dude, big Celtic dude, it's got a metal stake. It was just, I don't even remember what that came off of. Anyway, I find stuff, you know, that falls apart and there's got some tubing on there, and I'll taper down the end of it, and now that's solid. You put that in the ground. We get winds up over 50 miles an hour sometimes here, and it tears things up. These don't go anywhere. They're right where I left them, and they're kind of fun. You know, you can change it up every year. Just go around to a construction site and get you some plywood, and that, you know, they're putting on a new roof or whatever, you know, framing up a house, or just ask them if you can have that stuff. Go get it. And you don't have to dig in like with a router or a grinder or a Dremel like I have here. These I've got better tombstones than these. These are ones I was trying to touch up just so I could use them again. and these are some of the first ones that I put together. You don't have to dig in there, you can just paint on it. I've used the dollar store paint. This is dollar store paint, kind of a metallic. I've used it's just acrylic dollar store stuff. It holds up pretty good on stuff like this. It's better if you use like a paint pen or actual paint, you know, like even if you take spray paint, black spray paint, carefully tilt a cup and spray it into a cup to where you get the fluid building up in there, and use a paintbrush in the cup to go back over lettering like this or something like that. That's going to hold up a lot better. But the dollar store paint lasted on most of these things. It's still on there. But stuff like this, it's just going to wash off. It's not going to hold up. It doesn't stick to this very well, or slick, real slick PVC. You got to use some different paints if you want it to last. Because I wanted stuff I could put out over and over and over again. I started off with the foam ones, and of course you get foam all over the yard. They break, the wind takes them out. Somebody trips over them, they bust. They bust sometimes just trying to stick them in the lawn. The fakey little push pin things they give you to put them in the lawn, it doesn't work. Anyway, I've got another Tombstone here I was going to show it to you. I got to go get it out of storage, and I will be right back.